So, hope you enjoyed the cartoon of the spooky skeleton dance. Yes, that is where we get the spooky skeletons song from. Okay, that cartoon, what you just watched, is almost 100 years old. Okay, almost. And it used to be when kids like you wanted to go watch Saturday morning cartoons, you would have to ask your mom to give you a nickel, okay? And you would go down to the local movie theater on downtown street, Main Street, and you would go in and you would pay a nickel and you'd watch Saturday morning cartoons on the movie theater screen in black and white because no one had TVs back then, okay? TVs had not been invented yet for home use. So, I got to sneeze here. Excuse me. So today we're actually going to hook skeletons and kind of spoopy season in with what is called scientific illustration. So scientific, or in this case, since we are working with the human body, we are going to be calling it medical illustration, is art that shows how the human body works, where everything is. For surgeons, how surgery is done step by step. It is important for doctors, nurses, physical therapists, occupational therapists, dentists, anyone that has to work with a different part of the body. They always refer back to medical illustrations to learn about the human body. And I would know, because before I became a teacher, I was a medical illustrator, and I still do some medical illustration on the side, usually for dentists and dental surgeons. Right now, working with someone on how to reconstruct the top part of your jaw once it has disappeared to cancer or accidents, which is interesting, mostly built out of metal with bone grafting. So talking about bones in your body, you have, and you want a vertical one and a pencil in your hand, you have 206 bones in your body. That's a lot of bones. And that number is actually higher when you're a baby because a lot of your bones actually fuse together to make one, especially your long bones. That's why babies are kind of floppy. They can't walk for the first year of their life. So it's more like 280 bones, and eventually those all merge together to form only 206 bones. So we're going to draw simple skeletons today and also learn about our human skeleton, because right now there's actually quite a few skeletons in the room. Look around. You're surrounded by skeletons. Everyone has one. All right, we're going to start with what's called the cranium, the top of the head. It is the helmet-like bone patch that helps protect your brain on the inside. It literally acts as a helmet. And camera, you and me are going to fight if you don't stop refocusing. We're going to put the orbits, okay, or the holes where your eyes go in the front of your face. I'm going to zoom in on this. Just make sure you leave a lot of room down here because we're going to do the whole skeleton, people. You have your nasal cavity, which is an upside down heart. And then below that, you're going to have what's called your maxilla, or the top jaw, okay? It holds all your top teeth of your skull. We are going to do zygomatic for your cheekbones, okay? You can actually feel them right underneath your eyeballs. Those cheekbones actually stand out. Helps hold your facial muscles in place. And we're going to zoop down into the maxilla. And that forms the top part of our skull. To talk, to chew, to snore, spit, you have to move your lower jaw or your mandible. So we're going to do the lower teeth now. And come back with an L. And come around town to make the lower part, okay, or mandible of your jaw, lower jaw. So congratulations. Just by doing the skull alone, this tiny section of your body, you've already done 26 bones, because it takes 26 bones to make your skull. That's not including your teeth. Once you have all your adult teeth in your head, you're going to hopefully only have 32 teeth. That's a lot of chompers. So now we're going to move on from this, okay? So we have our skull, we have the whole rest of the body to do, and even if you have a weird short body and trying to fit it into the page, that's okay. Not all skeletons are the same. My skeleton is way shorter than, let's say, Mr. McDaniel's or Miss Daniele's. Miss Daniele's has a very large skeleton with long, wonderful legs that are perfect for dancing. And I got stumpy ones that are perfect for sitting down doing art. So behind our skull, we're going to come down and start making the vertebra or the backbones that make your spine. But before we get too far down, I want you to do a weird lazy bird. Terribly lazy. Terribly lazy. And in the middle of that, we're going to do a little diamond. So now I'm going to connect the vertebra at the back of this. And then I'm going to make my lazy bird be able to punch, because it has big muscular arms. For the collarbone, you can actually feel this. It is toward the top of your rib cage at the very top. It actually sticks out. Your collarbones help hold your arms in place, because your arms are actually just attached by two bones right here in what's called a socket. Okay, they're not part of your rib cage though, they're separate. All right, now we're going to give Mr. Lazy Bird an interesting thing coming down from it. I don't know what to call it. It's a bird doing a T-pose now. And this is called your sternum. So you have your manubrium, you have your sternum, and this is the central bone down the front of your chest. You can actually hit it, okay? It's on the front of your chest for both boys and girls, and it holds all your ribs together. So coming off from this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to have what are called the true ribs. These are the ribs that are attached directly to the sternum. And they're very flexible, so you can breathe, okay? So we're going to turn these into big fat ribs, coming around to make your rib cage. Lots of little joints to help your rib cage be flexible enough to help you breathe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to take a breath, and that's not good. So go ahead and thicken these up. So we have our true ribs, okay? Now we're going to have what are called the floating ribs, okay? We're going to have ribs that don't quite come up. They just don't quite reach, and the rest of it's attached with a special type of rubbery stuff called cartilage. Cartilage allows you to have all the flexibility in your joints because you have a little bit of cartilage in between your bones. So bring back, bring back, bring back, bring back, to make them into these weird little gill-like things. And you can draw where the cartilage is with a little butterfly-looking thing. Good. We have a skull. We've got a rib cage, which acts as a protection to your heart, your lungs, and the top part of your liver and stomach on the inside, and a little bit of your spleen over on your left side. So if you touch your left side and feel your ribs, you're actually touching the very top of your spleen. On this side, touch the top of the very bottom of your ribs. On your right side, you're touching the side of your liver. All right, we're going to bring the spine. The spine has continued down behind all this, and we're going to make it fat as we get down below, because this doesn't have a lot of weight to support because you only have your head. And your head can weigh up to 10 pounds. But below this, all these spine pieces, all these vertebrae down here are actually supporting all this above and your arms. So that's a lot of weight. So they got to be a little thicker than the ones that make your neck. We'll go ahead and section this off. Now I'm going to ask you to do something interesting. I'm going to ask you to draw a big fat butterfly with this wings on this side, wings on this side, and then we're going to come up and connect in the middle. So you have to have two support systems in your body. One support system called the axial support is for your arms, where they connect to your body here and here at your collarbones, the scapula. Down here we have to have another cage to connect your legs to. Okay, and this is called the pelvis. Oh, almost forgot labels. What medical illustration would not have labels? Tell me, try and find one. So, rib cage. I'm going to draw one out from here. And make sure it's further out that we actually leave room to draw some of our arms. The spine, which is this column of bones that's been running behind all this. And then a marker from our butterfly called the pelvis. And the pelvis acts as a bowl, okay? So not only is it holding your legs in place on the underside, but it's also holding all your internal organs on the inside. So we're actually going to have a curve here. Going to have two holes here. And you're actually going to see two more holes here. But Mrs. Wisnett, you said it was a bowl. What bowl has holes in it? Actually, major muscle groups run through these holes and act as a pulley system to help you raise and lift your legs to walk, to kick that kickball at the playground, to play in soccer, to do karate kicks and taekwondo and all things like that. So we have actually a lot of muscle action happening through these holes here. All right, coming down, we're going into the more other parts of the body. So this is the central part of your body. Now we're going to go to what's called the auxiliary part of your body. You have your axial part of your body, and then you have your auxiliary part. I know those are big words, but still. So now we're going to actually come out and come out with two kind of things. And it's interesting, when people actually see a skeleton, they think they almost look like they have knock knees. No, we're going to have a slight angle in and a slight angle in, and make sure that there's a cute little horn right there and right there, because that has a lot of muscles that attach to that too. All your big fat muscles attached there. And then we're going to give this person some knobbly knees. Oh yeah. So it's like chicken bones at the bottom of them. So let's go ahead and give some chicken bone knobbly knees at the bottom. And in the middle is actually going to be this very round special bone called the patella, or the kneecap. So these long bones in your body are actually the longest bones in your body. This is called the femur. You only got one big one inside each of your thighs. Coming down from here, you're going to see that instead of having one, we're going to have two for your lower leg. And if you're running out of room, just make it really short. So now we're going to come in with one thick one and one thin one. It's so thin it almost looks like there's two lines. So one thick one, one thin one. And we're going to come in here, and they're going to angle out here at the bottom. I'll zoom in on that ear. So we've had these really large bones, okay, you literally can count them on one hand. And then everything gets really complicated because when you have foot problems, it's because your feet are made up of a lot of little muscles and a lot of little bones. So when people have foot problems and foot pain and they need to go in for surgery because you can't walk without your feet, okay, it'd be very painful. We're going to just draw some boxes down here. And then we're going to separate them into all the long bones of your foot. And then a second box of long bones of your foot. And then we're going to have your toes. And you have 2 bones in each toe, and they're just itty bitty. They're tiny, okay? Because your toes are tiny. And that's why it hurts so much when you hit them on furniture. Some people actually accidentally break their toes on furniture. You may know a relative who probably said some words you probably shouldn't have had when they stubbed their toe really good on furniture. And these little bones are very prone to breaking. Your big toe helps with support for the rest of your body, all the way to the mid of your toes, and then the last 2 toes are actually for your balance. So people who are in gymnastics, these last 2 toes are very, very important for you. People who play sports, things like that. All right, so we got cute little toes. And all these little bones in the foot and ankle, okay, allows you to rotate your ankle. So if you're rotating your ankle right now like I am, you can thank all the little bones that are in your ankle joint to allow you to do that. Same thing with, zoom out, wrists, with rotating your wrists. Okay, you got 8 bones in your wrist alone. All right, so we got some labels, almost forgot. Skull. Well, our guy would be very sad. He can't play video games because he doesn't have arms or hands. So now our body needs to be able to play video games. So we're going to come up at the end of each of these collarbones, and we're going to do the bone that is very humorous because it is called the humerus. Starts out with a ball at the top because this is what's called a ball and socket joint. Okay, the ball moves around and allows you to move up and down, okay, and rotate your arms and do all those weird things you do in kinesiology. We're going to bring your humerus down to the bottom, equal with the bottom of your rib cage. And then you're going to have a really big triangular foot for your olecranon joint, or simply in more technical English, your elbow joint. So one big bone up here, one big bone here. So just like how we had one big bone and then 2 small bones, same thing with your arm. You have the humerus right here, which breaks into what's called your radius and your ulna. So you're actually going to have 2 bones coming from here. From these 2 bones, and we're going to give them a little end and a cute little end. Okay, they allow, as they spin around each other, and roll up my sleeve, allow you to do this motion. Just twist your hand into supination and pronation. Okay, they actually spin around each other to allow you to do that motion. All right, same thing as in the feet. Your hands have a lot of bones in them. You have 3 in your thumb. You've got these long bones here that are leading to each of your fingers, and then each of your fingers has 1, 2, 3 bones in them. So we're going to have the palm and then the thumb. Okay, I'll go zoom in on that. There we go. And if your skeleton looks spoopy and it doesn't quite look like mine, guess what? It's okay. It's okay if your skeleton's spoopy, as long as you're learning something today, because we're talking about medical illustration. All right, so I'm going to have those 4 long ones inside the palm of my hand, and then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 finger bones in each of my fingers. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so what you do for one side, he's still sad. It's really hard to play video games with only one hand. Come on, people. We'll do the metacarpals on the other side, which is those, whoops, let's make them a little longer. Whoopsie, I can't erase. All right, sorry. Make them a little longer than that and give them 1, 2, 3 for a thumb, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then finally 1, 2, 3 to make the little joints of your hands. And that, my children, is how you draw a human skeleton. Alright, and we will put humerus here. Now, I know I'm only brushing the tip of the iceberg with how many bones are in each of these, okay? Because each of these bones does have a different name to them. And if you ever go into medical field of any kind, nursing, surgeon, being a regular doctor, you have to know each of these bones by name. There's a lot of memorization that goes into medical school and just remembering enormous amounts of information. So you're just like an elephant. You can just remember information, and you love science. This may be a field you want to get into. And for me, since I like to draw and I like science, scientific art and medical illustration is right up my alley. So think about it and enjoy it. And if you need to erase anything, awesome. If your skeleton looks, the head's huge and the body's tiny and you ran out of room so your feet are like blank, that's fine. You know what you have now? You got a spoopy skeleton, and that's fine. I really just wanted you to learn a little bit of human anatomy today. All right, until next time, we'll see you then.